Well, like Ubisoft, we should have seen you. You can't be missed. I'm certain some of you have played the original Assassin's Creed, and you should know that Ubisoft is now woke, and if you don't know, Sweet Baby Inc. co-founder Kim Belair worked at Ubisoft. This is a clear red flag. Anybody should have seen it coming. And not only that, when they charge you excessive bonuses like $130, that just made things even worse. Now, we're gonna react a video from Hypnotic that's gonna work where Ubisoft stocks tanks. Well, I think they still double down by this point. Let me show you what's happening.
What's happening to Ubisoft right now is honestly quite amazing, and it's nothing different than what we've seen for like Target, Bud Light, etc. You know what I mean? When investors start panicking, but it involves a whole nother conversation that I kind of want to get into regarding what just happens when a company decides to get woke and all of a sudden these investors panic. It's almost as if these investors are unaware of what's actually happening because they're being lied to all the time.
They've been lied to, but then again, that's Ubisoft. I think ever since the Far Cry series, I believe it's either the Far Cry 5 or perhaps Assassin's Creed Origin or something, or Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I mean, we should have seen it coming. Remember, this is Ubisoft, and Ubisoft's now part of Sweet Baby Inc. because their co-founders used to work with Ubisoft. And also, another thing, Star Wars Outlaw and the new Assassin's Creed Shadow, this is a clear indication that company Ubisoft is woke. And now we've seen the effects of it.
That this company is all for ESG, I think that's pretty much insane, right? At this point, you have to know, if you're an investor, what companies are woke as shit, right? And to pretend as if you didn't know when all of a sudden you see a trailer come out about this game, I just think it's a little bit odd to me. They must know. So when I see things like this, it's like, why wait till this point in time? Why wait here? Why now? Why panic sell so hard to the point where you plummet the stock? Because what ends up happening is that you're going to have people sell off their stock while it's at $23, $24, whatever it was at this case, and then it ends up going super cheap. And then you're going to have other investors who are trying to buy the stock super cheap, then buy it when it reaches an all-time low, thus increasing the stock over time to a point where now it's at $21.28. Now, it hasn't fully recovered, granted, but what ends up happening is that the people who invested here at $19 and the amount of shares that they're bought, they already made their money back. When you see it go to $21.28. So if it goes back to what it was up here, then the people that bought here are extremely smart and knew what to do.
That is quite true. Some people have a brain, they are smart enough, and some people are dumb because it's either they don't know about it or they support it. They are woke leftists. If you see that graph, should be a clear indication that many investors, they're smart. They knew what's happening. I'm pretty much certain they saw the curated page of Sweet Baby Inc. Detect. I have to assume that way because regardless of which position you are, at the end of the day, you are still a human being. And I'm certain some of you, or perhaps I'm certain some of the people who work at Stock Exchange have their own lives. They even watch YouTube, they even watch Netflix, whatever the case may be, and they knew something like this is bound to happen. It's not rocket science.
It says, while Ubisoft predicted first quarter bookings would come in lower than expected, the company did try to be optimistic about its future outlook with Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws. Now, I gotta imagine, okay, these two games are coming from two IPs that back in the day were extremely popular. Assassin's Creed, still a pretty popular IP. Star Wars, that's arguable. We've seen a lot of Star Wars, adventures or venues fail. They don't do as well. Obviously, I think that the name, unfortunately, has been dragged through the dirt so much that people are basically taking a second look at anything Star Wars, whereas before, they would just buy it up simply because it was Star Wars, right? It doesn't really have that name anymore, that long-lasting name where it's like, oh, Star Wars? Yeah, I'm just going to buy it just because it's Star Wars. It doesn't have that anymore. And Star Wars Outlaws, you guys already know what happened with that trailer. The response for that video game was astronomically bad. And now you have Assassin's Creed Shadows that is basically following suit in the same way.
Yeah, that's correct. And we have to understand when people announced was Star Wars Acolyte, well, everyone knew immediately that anything that's related to Star Wars in these days, they're gonna go woke. Unless, of course, if it's the old Star Wars, which that's not even woke yet. But clearly the new Star Wars, it's not the same, and we all know Star Wars Acolyte that is probably gonna come in less than or perhaps it's already released at the time of this upload. It's probably not gonna do well. And I'm gonna be certain many of those casts is probably gonna gaslight the fans. I have to guess some of those casts don't watch Star Wars because take a look what Shudigawa said. You wanna know what he said? Don't like it? Don't watch it. Turn out the TV, go touch grass. And then he wonders, why aren't people watching Doctor Who Series 14? or season 14. See, this is the problem. When people say like that, this is what happened to TV shows. If you say things like that, they're not gonna watch. If you say things like, don't like it, don't watch it, okay, the viewers will say, challenge accepted. Again, I'm gonna leave the full video link in the description so you guys can get the full context of what's happening.
However, with the power of more hypercells, I'm certain I can track the location of the Alpha Naytiba. That's why I'll have to ask you for a little more help. Altus Lavoir, a place out in the wasteland, a ruin of the past. Can we count on you to retrieve another hypercell from there?
Eve, I'm sure it'll be of help.
Yes. We have no other choice.
Leave a like and subscribe and comment down below if you guys want to see, if you want me to review any movies, video games, TV shows that are either woke or anti-woke, list it in the comment. And also come join my Discord.